Hey YouTubers, Barry here. So I got a really good, cool beer mail today at work because I usually get my packages delivered to work because I'm not home during the day. And perfect to celebrate 500 subscribers on my YouTube channel. So finally hit that milestone after quite a while, but glad I finally made it there. So the beer mail is from Dan ABA. And I don't know if you guys remember, a little while ago, a few months ago, he reviewed a few of my saisons after I sent him a bunch of beer, and he sent me 8 sours. Not 6, but 8, because I believe I sent him 6 beers. So, luckily, with all the beers, he sent me a nice description of each one, and what should I expect. So, of course, because I brought the beers home from work, I can't do a big fancy unboxing, but I thought I just, the beers are still in the bag, so I can unwrap them and show you the bottles. So I'll go one by one, and then I'll read you the information, and then of course when I review them, either in a homebrew review video or on a homebrew Wednesday, then I'll repeat the details. This is a lime goza. So he says, this is a goza I made with Southeast Labs Farmhouse Sour Ale blend. I quartered 2 limes and tossed them into the fermenter for 2 days before keg conditioning. I bottled off the keg, so I think this one may be a little under carb. So we'll see. That sounds interesting. Then the next one is Solera 3 from 4/13/15. Is in a box from an actual brewery, Almanac Brewing Company. So he reused the bottle from their blackberry sour. So he said about this one, is pull number 3 from my Solera, blended with East Coast D20's Culture from a 2013 sour blonde. The Solera has been maintained since 2011. And there is a playlist on his YouTube channel to track the Solera, so that's pretty cool. Next one is what he calls on his list the Yellow Cap Cherry. This is the base Solera, 9 pounds of frozen cherries from Michigan, and he added some rosé Chardonnay to the fermenter, and then he said it's less sour than the others, but there should be some nice flavors from the cherries, and it was keg conditioned this one in May and bottled a few. So all the ones that he said were bottled from the keg, where he warns me that the carbonation might be low, and I know that a little bit from my, experiences, with bottling without a bottling gun and just doing a makeshift method. Sometimes you don't get the carbonation exactly right when you bottle off the keg. Next one is called Framboise plus currants. So for the description of this one, this is a blend of a fresh framboise and then a sour brown ale with Bretois and White Labs Lactobacillus brevis, and then later got half a bottle of Malbec and 2 pounds of dried Zente currants, also very sour. So I like sour, so hopefully it's not like enamel peeling sour. Then the next one is, just to speed this up, I'm just gonna not take them out of the bag. So the next one is the Solera, a pull from June 2014. So this one he blended 2-to-1 with a Wallonian saison from the East Bay, and he says a bit overcarbed. So I'll have to keep an eye out for that. And then the next one is the Framboise. So from 2015, he says this one was blended, was bottled in March of last year. It's basically a blend with an old Framboise that was sitting on cherries for quite a while with a fresher one. So it just balance it out because one is more sour than the other. So he also warned me that one is very sour. Then the last two, one is his famous Loquat, You see by the shape of the bottle, it's in an Orval bottle, so I guess he likes the Orval. So it is aged on two. It says a sour blonde, dry aged 2 months on loquats from his mother's loquat tree. And the last one, which I'll probably put in the fridge and drink first, is a dry hop. But I'm sure all these beers are gonna be awesome. I haven't tried any of his beers yet, but from all the stuff that he's shown us on YouTube and his palate that I've seen in his reviews of my beers and other people's beers, and the influence he has in the Milk the Funk Facebook group, I'm definitely looking forward to trying these world-class homebrewed sours. Hey BrewTubers, so the next day, Tuesday night, after showing you that beer mail segment from Dan ABA, as I may have mentioned, I'm going to start with the dry hop sour. So again, I'll reread the info on it. So it says for dry hop on his list, a December 2015 blended blonde ale. I blended an East Coast East 2013 sour blonde with a semi-spontaneous, which he means lid. Left the lid off overnight to cool. Then pitched dregs of Crooked Stave Surette, which is a saison, I believe, and then this portion, which was the dry hop portion of the blend, was dry hopped with both Eldorado and Galaxy, which some of you may be familiar with. That are also the same hops that are used in Dropkick Nate. So, because the beer has Crooked Stave dregs, so I had to use my Crooked Stave glass. Let's give it a pour out of, there was a nice hiss. He said that some of the, I don't think this was one of the bottles that he said was bottles from the keg, so there's a pretty decent amount of carbonation rising in the glass. I could smell the sourness filling the room, or the aroma of the beer filling the room. So I left the last little bit in the bottle just to save. It is pretty cloudy, but left the last little bit in there. So it is a really nice blonde color. I don't know, it might seem darker even in camera, but I'll lift it up to my light for a second. And it is just a blonde ale color. Not too straw, but definitely blonde and not gold or orange. So in the room, I haven't had that many dry hop sours, so let's go based on my enjoyment of the beer, how I feel that the hops play with the sour and funkiness. So it's definitely a nice, I wouldn't call it like overtly Galaxy and Eldorado because I have brewed with both of those hops. But there is like a nice sour blonde ale aroma, but I think it's like rounded out by a nice like candied fruit, which you would definitely get from Eldorado and Galaxy. Now this was, I believe, bottled in December, like he said, so it's not going to be as pungently hoppy in the aroma as it would be otherwise. But there's definitely, I've had plenty of sour blonde ales, and there's definitely another level of like sweet fruitiness that you could actually knock up to malt, but the beer is probably going to be really dry, so I'm assuming that candied sweetness is from the hops. So we go ahead. I'm pretty thirsty, so I'm gonna go ahead, take a sip. Cheers, Dan, and cheers to all you guys. So in the flavor, there's not a ton of hops. As I said, I expected it's been in the bottle for about 4 months or so, maybe a little more. So in the aroma, there's, like I said, there's something unique that takes it away from this being just any other sour blonde beer. But in the taste, and now it's still pretty cold, I'm just getting like a very not too sour, but like a straightforward sour blonde ale flavor. And how much funk? It's definitely like a lactic acid type tartness, and it's dry, but it doesn't like have a lot of that like sourness that like really dries out your throat. It really like, you know, tells you that it's overly sour, so it's a pretty nice balanced, you could call it that, sourness. Okay. So the more sips I take, the more that unique candied fruit sweetness kind of makes its way into the initial flavor. I'm definitely still getting a nice like slight puckering at the base of my palate, and then like a dry sourness as it goes down. But it's that dryness is not like building as much in the back. What's left is like a dry, you know, front of my palate. Oh, all right. So just to take one more sip and sum up my thoughts. So I would have loved to try this beer fresher, but from what I can taste, when it was really cold, as I said, it was very much a sour blonde ale flavor, that nice lactic, you know, sour ale tartness, without too much, you know, ripping apart the back of my palate and giving me that like heartburn sourness you can get from some beers that are overly sour. But it dries out the palate and makes you want the next sip. And then as it warmed up, and I'm drinking more on it now, I'm getting some of that candied fruit from the dry hops. That really you got almost like a candied peach or a candied papaya type flavor. Um, that really kind of brings some uniqueness to what would be just a regular sour blonde. So overall, really, really, really nice beer. And speaking to Dan, after I told him that I filmed the clip, the beer man, he said that this is his favorite of all the beers he sent me. And while I want to reserve judgment about that until I've tried a few more of them, I'm really impressed with this. The main reason I decided to film this review for a Homebrew Wednesday instead of a separate video was because I don't really have any updates on my stout that I brewed last. I showed you footage from last week, so my last Homebrew Wednesday, because I'm not rushing to take samples this time like I did with my ESB. I'm going to give it a full 2 weeks in primary and then take a sample, because it got off to a very vigorous start, so I'm pretty confident that it's going to ferment out all the way, unlike the ESB, which finished a few points high. So, you know, so that's really the only update. I'm not rushing to take samples. So, again, cheers to Dan, because, I don't know, I guess I'll call this Homebrew Wednesday Dan the Man, ABA. And cheers to you guys. And if you haven't taken a leap into the sour realm, but you do like sour beers, definitely start small, you know, 1 to 3 gallon or a 3-gallon batch, and go from there. Because we have Dan the Man, Dan ABA, to guide us along the way as we take our steps, tippy toes, into funky and sour beers, and explore our creativity with another type of flavor other than bitter and sweet or malty. So cheers, and keep on brewing.